When a person goes missing, investigators often use the media to their advantage and circulate case details via TV, radio, print, and social media. Unfortunately, not every case receives proportional representation for one reason or another, and these cases often slip under the radar, receiving little to no media attention. Number 5. 27-year-old Karen Mero lived in McLeod, California, with her boyfriend Ed Hinline Jr. and his parents. Ed's parents, Debbie and Ed Sr., did not like Karen, with Karen and Ed Sr. often clashing heads with one another. Ed Jr. and Karen were known in the area as partiers, and the family home on the 300 block of Minnesota Avenue quickly became a party palace, much to the distaste of Ed Jr.'s parents. As the months dragged on, Debbie and Ed Sr. desperately tried to get the two to move into their own apartment. But before this could happen, Karen mysteriously vanished. Karen was last seen on February 15, 1997, on the front porch of the Hinline home with Ed Sr. and Debbie. Disturbingly, Karen's disappearance was not reported until October of that year. When Karen's parents failed to hear from her, they initially assumed that she had taken off. According to the Charlie Project, Karen had a warrant out for her arrest, and her parents speculated that she was trying to evade the police. However, when months passed without word, Karen's parents knew something was wrong. The final red flag for Karen's parents was the discovery that she'd not been collecting her prescriptions. She had undergone a liver transplant 3 years earlier and needed anti-rejection medication in order to survive. If Karen didn't take her medication, even for a short period, the consequences could be fatal. The Siskiyou County Sheriff's Office also discovered that another woman, Hannah Zaccaglini, disappeared from the 300 block of Minnesota Avenue, with Ed Sr. being the last person to see her alive. Some reports even state that Hannah was seen walking with Ed Sr. shortly before she disappeared. In 1998, a year after Karen disappeared, Ed Sr. and Debbie were charged with welfare fraud, as it was discovered that they'd been collecting Karen's disability checks after her disappearance. Ed Sr. and Debbie have both professed their innocence in Karen's disappearance, and the two were given a slap on the wrist in order to pay a $2,000 fine for collecting Karen's checks. Ed Hinline Sr. remains a suspect in both cases, and the Hinline home has been subjected to a rigorous FBI search, but no evidence was found. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Siskiyou County Sheriff's Department at 530-842-8300, quoting case number 972573. Number 4. 23-year-old Terry Lynn Fregia was a free-spirited young woman. Her family described her as a rolling stone who never stayed in one place for too long. Terry knew a big world was out there and intended to see it. Throughout the 1980s, Terry lived in Texas, Louisiana, and lived life to the fullest. In 1989, Terry mysteriously disappeared without a trace, and it would take decades for her case to be examined. Terry Lynn had been married and divorced twice by 1989, and these relationships had bore 3 children. In the summer of 1989, Terry was in Tarkington, Texas, where most of her family lived. At the time of her disappearance, she may have been living and working in Hull and Beaumont, Texas. Unfortunately, there's no exact date when Terry disappeared. We only know that Terry left a relative's home in the summer of 1989 and never returned. She left behind her driver's license, her cat, clothes, and car. Her family reported her missing to the Liberty County Sheriff's Office, but the investigation was lackluster. In 2013, Terry's niece worked at the Liberty County Sheriff's Office when she discovered her aunt's case had never been processed to the Missing Persons Clearinghouse. Terry's case was processed, and because of that, she was not technically reported missing to higher authorities until 24 years after she vanished. This report gave the investigation new life, and detectives discovered that Terry had obtained a notary public license in South Carolina. A notary is a person who can witness legal documents and acts almost like a solicitor. This has been the only lead in Terry's case, and since she was reported missing, the case is run cold. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Liberty County Sheriff's Office at 936-336-4505, quoting case number 13-10151. Number 3. 21-year-old Melanie Marie James had an exciting future ahead of her. The 21-year-old was a bright and happy young woman with a special bond with her family. In 2014, Melanie decided it was time to take charge of her future and wanted to enroll in school again. Before Melanie could attend her first class, she mysteriously disappeared and became one of the many missing Indigenous women whose cases are ignored by the authorities. On April 20th, 2014, Melanie left her home in Farmington, New Mexico, telling her mother Layla that she was headed to San Juan College to enroll in classes. The college was just a short walk away, and Melanie decided to apply for jobs while en route. Melanie and Layla said their goodbyes, with Melanie promising to be home by 5 p.m. Layla never saw her daughter again. When Melanie failed to return home, her mother immediately began to panic. She hopped into her car and made the short drive to San Juan College, but there was no sign of Melanie. Layla drove up and down every road and side street looking for her daughter, but failed to find her. Melanie's sister and extended family also joined the search, but still nothing was found. On April 22nd, 2014, after hours of exhausting searches, Layla tried to file a missing person report with the Farmington Police Department. Disturbingly, the police department told Layla that there was nothing she could do and that she needed to wait 48 hours before filing a report. She stormed out of the building and decided to continue the search herself. Layla quickly amassed a small group of people to aid in her search, with volunteers joining in too. Despite a large-scale search by Layla and her family, no sign of Melanie has ever been found. Layla told KOAT that she starts her day at 3 a.m. searching for her daughter before going to work or going home. There have been 3 possible sightings of Melanie in the company of an unidentified African-American man. Anybody with information is asked to contact the Farmington Police Department at 505-599-1070, quoting case number 3201114. Number 2. 19-year-old Christi Nikle of Grand Forks, North Dakota, was known around town as a lively and happy young woman. Christi had a developmental disorder that left her with the mental capacity of a 10-year-old, but she was still determined to live life to the fullest. Her parents described Christi as somewhat street smart and incredibly trusting due to her disability. Those who knew Christi recalled how much she cared and valued their friendship, and she was known to be exceptionally kind. On October 3rd, 1996, Christi and a friend headed to a bingo hall to try their luck. Amazingly, Christi apparently won $500 and was ecstatic. After leaving the bingo hall, Christi has never been seen or heard from again. Her father, Mike, knew it wasn't unusual for his daughter to be out late, but he panicked when she didn't call to let him know where she was going. Due to Christi's kind and trusting nature, Mike feared that Christi had met the wrong person who had taken advantage of her. He tried to report his daughter missing to the Grand Forks Police Department on October 4th, but investigators told him that Christi was an adult who could come and go as she pleased. He was also told that he needed to wait 72 hours before he could file a report. Mike knew he didn't have 72 hours and banded his family together to create a search party. Mike and the family drove up and down Grand Forks, visiting Christi's favorite spots, but there was no sign of her. The case quickly grew cold shortly after the Grand Forks Police Department accepted Mike's missing person report. In 1998, the Grand Forks Police Department received a call from an anonymous tipster telling them to look into Floyd Todd Tabson as a suspect. In the weeks before her disappearance, Christi told her friends that she had a new boyfriend named Todd, but kept many details close to her chest. Floyd had a long record, and in the years since Christi's disappearance, he's been potentially linked to several serious crimes against developmentally disabled women in North Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, and Maryland. Floyd has never been charged with Christi's disappearance, but there is one more possible lead in Christi's case. Shortly before she disappeared, she called the police on her neighbors who were partaking in illicit activities. This greatly upset the neighbors, and Mike believes this incident may have had something to do with his daughter's disappearance. Anyone with information is asked to contact Sergeant Brett Johnson of the Grand Forks Police Department at 701-787-8000, quoting case number 9603244. Number 1. 43-year-old Angela Angel LaDawn Kelton McCains had lived an eventful and successful life. Angel lived in New Mexico and was the proud mother of 3 children. Before falling into bad health, Angel had attended a college and had made a career for herself as a 911 dispatch operator. Her career saw her working with the Jal Police Department and Eunice Police Department, and she was regarded as an excellent dispatcher. Unfortunately, by 2019, Angel was suffering from ill health linked to her diabetes, and her 3 children were in the custody of her sister, Chris. Despite her health battle, Angel loved to travel and often visited Texas and Colorado for a few days. On June 17, 2019, Angel's sister Chris and Angel's children arrived at her home in Jal to collect some belongings. They found it strange when they knocked on the door and received no answer. Angel was known to travel but hadn't made the family aware of any upcoming trips. Entering the home, the family noticed that Angel had left behind her bra, diabetes medication, money, glasses, cigarettes, and phone. These were items that Angel would not have left the house without. Angel's sister Chris later told the media that Angel had several large dogs in the home. When they arrived on June 17th, Angel's dogs had been locked away strategically, which meant that they couldn't defend Angel or the property. Her sister commented that she believed Angel was targeted by someone that she knew, and who knew that the dogs would attack if they gained entry to the home. Angel's sister reported her missing to the police department shortly after this discovery. An investigation by the Jal Police Department revealed that nobody had seen or heard from Angel since May 14, 2019. Chris explained to detectives that Angel would make erratic visits to friends and family, opting to stay with them for a while. Everyone assumed that somebody else had heard from Angel, but the truth was nobody had heard from her. The case has since gone cold, and Angel's family speculates that her husband may be involved. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Jal Police Department at 575-395-2501, quoting case number 190228. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.